Top 8 Animals with Intuition Like Prophets. Across history and continents, animals have been quietly astonishing us with behaviors that defy logic. Fleeing from coasts before tsunamis, refusing to enter certain places before earthquakes strike, or staying unnervingly close to people just before a final goodbye. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a curious pattern that continues to challenge modern science. While researchers are still trying to unravel how animals interpret subtle changes in their environment, some cases go beyond what science can comfortably explain, almost as if these creatures are tuned into something beyond. At Top Animal Zone, we invite you to explore one of the most intriguing frontiers of the natural world: intuition. In this video, we delve into the lives of 8 remarkable animals whose mysterious behaviors have earned them a reputation akin to prophets. 1. The Black Crows. In myth, mystery, and mourning, few creatures stir the imagination like the black crow. From the misty highlands of ancient Europe to the spiritual traditions of Asia, these dark-feathered birds have long been regarded as more than just intelligent scavengers. To many, they are harbingers, uncanny messengers that arrive when something beyond the ordinary is about to unfold. In Western folklore, a murder of crows circling a house or cawing endlessly without cause is often read as a warning of impending death. But these ideas aren't limited to superstition. In 1952, a newspaper in Yorkshire, England, documented a chilling event. Moments before a terminally ill patient passed away in a local hospital, dozens of crows suddenly perched and cried above the building, as if echoing the final breath before it came. In Japan, before the devastating 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, residents in affected areas reported unusual behavior in crows, large flocks shrieking, diving erratically, and gathering in places they were rarely seen. Days later, the catastrophe struck. Coincidence? Perhaps. But it's worth noting that these reports surfaced not after the fact, but in real time, preserved in video and testimony. From a scientific standpoint, crows are among the most intelligent birds on Earth. Studies show they recognize human faces, plan for the future, and can even detect emotional distress in other creatures. Some researchers suggest their unusual behaviors might stem from sensing subtle changes in barometric pressure, vibrations, or even electromagnetic shifts, all of which often precede natural disasters. So while science hasn't formally declared crows as prophets of doom, the convergence of legend, observation, and eerie timing is difficult to dismiss. If a dozen crows start circling your rooftop while shrieking into the wind, well, even the most skeptical might feel a chill run down their spine. 2. Elephants that vanished before the waves. In the early hours of December 26, 2004, as the Indian Ocean quietly stirred beneath a sleeping world, one of the most catastrophic natural disasters in modern history was already in motion. A powerful undersea earthquake triggered a massive tsunami, devastating coastal regions across Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and beyond, claiming over 230,000 lives. But before the waves ever touched land, something extraordinary happened. The elephants vanished. At Yala National Park in southeastern Sri Lanka, a region that suffered massive destruction, eyewitnesses, including park rangers and tourists, recalled how the elephants, usually calm and slow-moving, began to behave erratically. They trumpeted in distress, broke through enclosures, and charged inland, away from the coast. These were not isolated incidents. Similar reports surfaced from Khao Lak, Thailand, and other tsunami-hit regions. In each case, elephants appeared to flee hours before the first tremors were felt by humans. When the tsunami finally struck, sweeping away entire villages and towns, most of these elephants had already reached higher ground, deep in the forests. Remarkably few elephant casualties were recorded, an outcome that has since puzzled scientists and reinforced ancient local beliefs that elephants possess a kind of earth sense. So, what did they detect? Experts now believe that elephants may be sensitive to infrasonic frequencies, low-frequency sound waves generated by tectonic shifts and seismic activity that are inaudible to humans but travel vast distances through the ground. Elephants, with their massive feet and specialized auditory systems, are known to communicate using infrasound across several kilometers. It's possible that they didn't just feel the danger. They may have heard it coming. In traditional cultures across Asia and Africa, elephants have long been seen as wise, spiritual creatures, guardians of the land, with a deep connection to nature's rhythms. 3. Cat sits and waits by the bedside of a dying patient. In nursing homes and private homes alike, stories have quietly emerged over the years about cats doing something both eerie and extraordinary. They seem to know when someone is about to die. Time and again, people have reported cats curling up beside dying individuals in their final hours, appearing seemingly out of nowhere, refusing to move, and staying until the person passes away. These aren't isolated incidents or mythic tales passed through generations. They've been observed, documented, and even written about in medical journals. Perhaps the most well-known example is Oscar, a seemingly ordinary cat who lived in a Rhode Island nursing home. Though not trained or guided, he repeatedly positioned himself beside patients just before they died, over 50 times. His story sparked widespread media attention and scientific debate, but Oscar is not alone. Similar stories have surfaced around the world, suggesting that this behavior may not be so rare among felines after all. So what could explain this mysterious ability? Some researchers believe cats might detect biochemical signals that the human body emits as it nears death. These could include changes in scent from organ shutdown, chemical shifts like increased ketones, or even minute changes in body temperature or breathing patterns. Details that escape human notice, but not the heightened senses of a cat. Others suggest it's not just about smell or sound. Cats are deeply intuitive creatures. Living in close proximity to humans, they may pick up on subtle emotional or energetic shifts. Some experts even believe that cats, with their keen sensitivity, may recognize patterns we don't consciously notice, forming their own internal logic over time. Of course, not all scientists agree. Skeptics argue it could be coincidence or a matter of selective memory, people remembering the times cats were right and forgetting when they weren't. But for those who've seen it firsthand, the experience is hard to explain away. 4. Fish jump out of the water before an earthquake occurs. In earthquake-prone regions like Japan, where tectonic shifts are part of life, coastal communities have long noticed an unsettling phenomenon. Just hours before a major earthquake, fish begin leaping out of the water in frantic, chaotic waves. Whole schools of fish suddenly thrash, launch, and even beach themselves, as though desperately fleeing an invisible threat from beneath the ocean floor. From a scientific standpoint, this premonition may not be mystical, but biophysical. One compelling theory centers on the swim bladder, a gas-filled organ in fish used to control buoyancy. This organ is incredibly sensitive to pressure changes and vibrations, both of which can occur when tectonic plates shift deep underground. Some researchers suggest that fish may react to primary waves, subtle seismic signals that travel faster than the destructive surface waves and are often undetectable to humans. Another hypothesis involves electromagnetic disturbances. Earthquakes are sometimes preceded by low-frequency electromagnetic pulses generated by the grinding of underground rock. These pulses may interfere with the nervous systems or orientation of marine life, creating a sense of disorientation or panic, prompting a sudden vertical escape. In other words, jumping. Interestingly, traditional fishermen across Asia have respected these signs for centuries. Ancient texts in China and oral histories in Indonesia refer to similar events. Fish behaving wildly before the earth trembles. What was once dismissed as folklore is now drawing serious scientific attention. While not every fish jump signals disaster, and not every earthquake is preceded by marine chaos, such patterns invite a humbling thought. Nature often speaks first, if we're willing to listen. 5. The chaos of birds. In many regions affected by wars or natural disasters, locals have reported eerie and chaotic behavior from birds as if nature itself was trying to send a warning. Instead of their usual graceful flight patterns, Flocks of birds were seen flying erratically, crashing into windows, rooftops, and even people's homes, appearing completely disoriented. To many, it felt like an omen, a silent signal that something terrible was looming. Scientists haven't pinned down an exact cause, but some theories suggest that birds may be sensitive to subtle environmental changes that humans cannot perceive, such as shifts in atmospheric pressure, ground vibrations, or low-frequency sound waves emitted before seismic events. While not every disaster is preceded by such bird behavior, these chaotic mass movements often leave behind an unsettling sense that nature, in its own mysterious way, knew something was about to happen. 6. Horses go crazy. For centuries, horses have stood beside humankind in both glory and chaos, galloping across peaceful pastures one day and charging into battle the next. But beyond their role as partners in warfare, historical accounts from across cultures reveal something even more intriguing. Horses seem to know when war is coming. One of the most cited examples comes from the night before the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, during the American Civil War. Soldiers from both the Union and Confederate camps reported eerily similar scenes. Horses refusing to eat, pacing in circles, pawing the ground, and whinnying into the night as if sensing imminent danger. These animals, which had been calm the day before, suddenly acted agitated and panicked, in unison, across multiple camps. Science may not yet have a definitive answer, but several compelling theories are emerging. First, horses possess acute sensory perception. Their hearing is far more refined than ours, capable of detecting ultrasonic frequencies and distant, low-frequency rumbles, possibly the movement of heavy machinery or the distant clatter of marching troops well before humans perceive a threat. Second, their sense of smell is exceptionally developed. Some researchers believe horses can pick up on the pheromonal changes emitted by anxious humans or other distressed animals, especially in large numbers. Essentially, smelling fear in the air. Lastly, there's the psychological connection. Horses, as prey animals, are wired for survival. They're highly attuned to shifts in energy and body language, particularly from the humans they bond with. Elevated cortisol levels, altered breathing, or micro-expressions of fear from soldiers or civilians could unconsciously trigger their instincts, turning calm animals into early warning sentinels. 7. The rooster crows at midnight. In many Asian rural areas like China and Thailand, roosters are more than just farm animals. They're seen as nature's alarm clocks. Their crowing at dawn signals the start of a new day. But what happens when a rooster crows at midnight, especially between 1 and 3 a.m.? In many communities, this isn't just odd, it's a serious omen. Such late-night crowing is often believed to foreshadow misfortune, including accidents, funerals, or major disturbances in the village. Elders in these communities often recount chilling experiences. A rooster crows in the dead of night, and just days later, someone in the village passes away or disaster strikes. Despite countless tales like this, modern science has yet to confirm any direct link between midnight crowing and impending disaster. Some theories suggest that roosters may be sensitive to subtle environmental changes, such as shifts in air pressure, low-frequency sounds, or electromagnetic fields which can precede natural disasters. However, no definitive scientific evidence supports this. As a result, the phenomenon continues to straddle the line between folklore and unexplained natural intuition. Are roosters really sensing something beyond our understanding, or is it all just coincidence? 8. Snakes emerging from their burrows in winter. Can animals predict earthquakes? The mysterious case of snakes. Crawling in winter. Among nature's most elusive creatures, snakes rarely make the headlines, especially during winter when most of them retreat underground to hibernate. As cold-blooded reptiles, snakes depend on external temperatures to regulate their body heat, and winter is typically a time of complete dormancy. But in some parts of the world, particularly in China, something bizarre has been observed. Snakes suddenly slithering out of their burrows in the dead of winter. Not just one or two, but dozens, even hundreds, emerging onto frozen ground, moving with a sense of urgency. And often, these strange events are followed by something far more chilling, an earthquake. One of the most striking examples of this phenomenon occurred in 2008, just days before the catastrophic 7.9 magnitude earthquake in Sichuan province, China. Locals and monitoring stations reported large numbers of snakes inexplicably appearing above ground. To human eyes, it looked like panic. But to scientists, it raised a compelling question. Could animals, especially snakes, be nature's earliest earthquake detectors? Modern seismology identifies a type of wave called a primary wave, or P wave, which is the fastest seismic wave generated by an earthquake. These waves travel deep underground and are usually imperceptible to humans. However, some scientists believe that certain animals, especially those that live in close contact with the ground, like snakes, may be able to sense these subtle vibrations. Studies in animal behavior suggest that creatures such as dogs, cats, birds, and yes, snakes, have heightened sensory abilities that allow them to detect minor environmental changes long before humans can. In the case of snakes, their jawbones are in direct contact with the ground and are highly sensitive to low-frequency vibrations. This might allow them to feel approaching seismic activity well in advance of the actual tremors. Additionally, some researchers speculate that animals may respond to changes in the Earth's magnetic field, air ionization, or even the release of gases like radon from shifting underground plates, phenomena that may precede earthquakes but are largely invisible to us. The idea that animals can sense natural disasters is not new. Throughout history, there have been stories of animals fleeing moments before tsunamis, storms, or earthquakes. But in recent decades, China has taken these accounts seriously. Some earthquake monitoring centers in the country have started incorporating animal behavior, particularly that of snakes, rodents, and birds, into their early warning observation systems. While mainstream science remains cautious, acknowledging that current data is still inconclusive, the anecdotal patterns are hard to ignore. While science continues to explore the boundaries of instinct, biology, and environmental sensitivity, one truth echoes through all these stories. Nature is speaking. The question is, are we listening? At Top Animal Zone, we believe that animals are not only companions in life, but also messengers from the natural world, offering insight, mystery, and sometimes warnings we'd be wise to heed. If you found this journey through the intuitive abilities of animals as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, share, and click subscribe. Join us as we continue to uncover more hidden wonders of the animal kingdom, where instinct meets the unexplained. Follow Top Animal Zone and let nature surprise you, one creature at a time.